So at this point, you might be thinking, wow, VSAN sounds really cool, but I just don't know that it's really going to help me and my company. So now let's move into some of the benefits of using VMware vSAN. The first one is that vSAN is, according to VMware, going to reduce your storage costs. So how can it reduce storage costs? Well, think about it today. At most companies, they have purchased a specific piece of hardware that all it does is store their data. That's their SAN or their NAS. SAN and NAS hardware is extremely expensive, and in most cases, it's difficult and complex to manage. You have to have dedicated storage administrators or a storage administration team. Those storage admins have to go to storage training classes just to learn how to administer the storage area network. And then when new virtual machines need to be rolled out, in many cases, virtualization admins or server admins have to work with storage admins to deploy those new applications. When trouble happens, let's say there's a performance problem, the server admins and the storage admins have to try to work together to figure out where that problem is happening. And all this specialized hardware and these additional complexities really just drives up the cost of storing your data. With vSAN, you're using your existing servers and most likely existing spinning disks that are already in those servers, and simply just adding flash-based storage to each host, and then adding, of course, a vSAN license from VMware that licenses you to use the vSAN feature set. If you compare that to a fiber channel-based storage area network, most likely you're going to have a significant cost savings simply by comparing hardware to hardware, even if you left out the higher cost of administration and troubleshooting. Moving on, the next benefit of vSAN is to prevent vendor lock-in. What VMware means by this is that you won't be locked into, let's say, EMC or NetApp for a 3 to 5 year time frame that most companies use to spread out the high cost of a storage infrastructure. With vSAN, your data is stored on your compute layer, on your servers. So if you want to swap out Dell servers for IBM servers or IBM servers for Supermicro servers, it doesn't matter. It's all VMware vSAN, and your data is just spread across the vSAN infrastructure. You can even mix and match all of those different server vendors I just mentioned inside the same vSAN cluster. In other words, vSAN is going to give you much greater flexibility when it comes to the vendors that you're using in the data center for your storage infrastructure, which is now being folded into or converged into the compute layer. And of course, a big benefit to not being locked into a single vendor is to give you great flexibility when it comes to negotiating price and hardware, and hopefully save your company a lot of money. Another benefit to using vSAN is simplified management. So when you simplify the management of your storage infrastructure and just fold it into VMware vSphere and vCenter, you'll surely gain a lot of efficiencies. Now, initially, your storage admins might not be too excited about folding storage into compute because they might be, frankly, concerned about their job security. But they should see it, and the company should see it, as a great opportunity to increase efficiency that would hopefully allow the IT department to work on projects, let's say, for the company that actually have a positive return on investment, instead of simply keeping the data center and the storage up and running on a daily basis. Another benefit to using vSAN is to improve performance. With vSAN, you're using flash technology in the compute layer to accelerate virtual machine and thus application performance. So you're adding read and write caching to your storage infrastructure, and that's something that many companies don't have in place today with their current SAN or NAS hardware. VMware vSAN will surely reduce operational costs overall. You're going to have a single pane of glass, VMware vCenter, to administer both compute and storage. vSAN is self-tuning, meaning you're not going to have to be provisioning LUNs and resizing LUNs and restriping LUNs and changing RAID levels. And when you need to add more storage capacity, you simply add more nodes with additional storage, or you can add storage to your existing nodes. The great thing about VSAN is that really any virtualization admin with a little bit of education, like you'll receive in this video training course on VSAN, can now administer a storage infrastructure for the data center. And then finally, improved reliability is something that VMware touts once you've implemented VMware VSAN. That's because not only all your virtual machines can have high availability, like they can with vSphere HA in the compute layer, but now all of your storage can also have high availability because that data is spread across all of the hosts that are participating in the VSAN shared data store. So now it's the vSphere kernel that can ensure your data is replicated across all the hosts, and no longer will a storage admin have to worry about, RAID levels and hot spares and things like striping and block sizes. I mean, VSAN is just radically simple, is the term that VMware has used, and from implementing it myself, I can attest to that, and I think you'll see that when we implement it here in just a little bit. So again, to sum it all up, benefits of using VSAN: it's going to make your life easier. It's going to make the life of storage admins easier. It's going to help your company reduce costs overall by not having to purchase dedicated storage hardware. And finally, it's going to improve performance with caching, as well as improve the reliability of your storage infrastructure.